Heather Graham has always brought a playful, free-spirited energy to the big screen, and her real-life dating history is just as captivating. Join us as we explore the long list of Hollywood heartthrobs, directors, and musicians who have fallen for this timeless beauty. Their acquaintance was likely brief, predating her breakout fame. Heather appeared in an episode of the sitcom Growing Pains in 1987. While there is no widely publicized story of a romance, they were both young actors on the Hollywood scene at the same time, often connected through the same social circles as he was starring in major 80s teen films. Heather's first high-profile role was as the desirable Mercedes Lane in the teen comedy License to Drive, 1988, where she played the love interest of Corey Haim's character, Les. Their relationship was primarily on-screen chemistry, though the movie cemented her as a teen crush for many, including the film's audience. Being co-stars in a romantic comedy naturally sparked speculation, but their story is really about the classic 80s movie magic they created together. Heather Graham and Matt Dillon shared a brief, low-key romance as the 1980s ended. For Heather, this meant an early connection with an established Hollywood star, as Matt was already known for his bad boy roles. Their dating period in 1988 and 1989 was a quiet but public coupling, taking place as Heather was starting to move into more serious film work, putting her in the orbit of respected, seasoned actors like Matt. This was a significant chapter for both Heather Graham and Kyle MacLachlan, deeply rooted in the world of David Lynch. They met on the set of the groundbreaking series Twin Peaks, where Heather played the kind, mysterious Annie Blackburn, and Kyle starred as Agent Dale Cooper. Their intense on-screen romance led to a real-life relationship that lasted about 2 years. Heather and Kyle were seen as the quintessential artistic Hollywood couple of the early 90s, defining a key moment in both their careers. The relationship between Heather Graham and James Woods was heavily scrutinized due to their large age difference. James Woods was reportedly deeply smitten with Heather, later revealing in interviews that he was wildly in love and that they had been inseparable for nearly a year. Heather, reflecting later, described her younger self's connection to James as possibly her looking for a father figure. Their intense yet short-lived romance created a very public and commented upon period in Heather's history. In 1993, Heather Graham and Leonardo DiCaprio were briefly linked. At the time, Leonardo was just beginning to transition from television to film, establishing himself as a serious young talent. The connection between Heather and Leo was a fleeting one, typical of the LA social scene where rising stars would briefly date or be seen together before going on to define their major career successes. Heather Graham's dating life took an eclectic turn when she was linked to new wave icon Adam Ant in 1994. After several relationships with actors, Heather's brief acquaintance with the British musician showed her movement into the LA music scene. Adam Ant and Heather formed an unusual but eye-catching couple for a short period, linking the worlds of alternative music and independent cinema. The romance between Heather Graham and Jon Favreau is immortalized in the 90s indie classic, Swingers. They dated around the time Jon wrote and starred in the film. Heather had a memorable cameo as the beautiful, cool girl who catches Jon's character's attention at the swing dance club. Their real-life relationship started around the time of the film's production, creating a charming connection between the rising Heather and the witty, entrepreneurial Jon. Heather Graham and Elias Koteas were briefly linked in 1997. Both were working actors known for their roles in independent and character-driven films. The short-lived connection between Heather and the intense, talented Elias was a private affair, noted in the context of her busy career and social life during the late 90s. The relationship between Heather Graham and Stephen Hopkins was very serious and included an engagement. Heather was cast in Lost in Space, 1998, a film that Stephen directed, which is how their romance began. Their connection lasted for about a year, showing Heather's commitment to Stephen's project as she chose it over other opportunities. Despite the engagement, the relationship between Heather and Stephen eventually ended. Heather Graham and Edward Burns were one of the indie film world's power couples in the late 90s. Edward, a major figure as a writer, director, actor, and Heather became engaged and lived together for a period. They were a recognizable and charming couple in the New York film scene. Their relationship was significant, lasting about 2 years, but they ultimately decided to call off the engagement and part ways. The romance between Heather Graham and Heath Ledger was a very public and passionate one in the early 2000s. They began dating when Heath was breaking out in Hollywood, and Heather was an established sex symbol. The two were a dynamic, striking pair, and Heather often accompanied Heath to premieres and social gatherings, integrating the young Australian into her sophisticated Hollywood circles. Their relationship was a noted high-profile love affair lasting around a year. In 2001, following her relationship with Heath Ledger, Heather Graham was briefly rumored to have had a fling with fellow Australian star Russell Crowe. This was a short, unconfirmed connection that briefly linked Heather with the intense, Oscar-winning Russell in the whirlwind of Hollywood dating gossip. Heather Graham and Chris Klein were reportedly linked briefly in 2001. This short-lived fling paired the established actress, known for more mature roles, with Chris, who was a star in the contemporary teen comedy genre, like American Pie. Heather and Benicio were romantically linked in 2001, though the connection was brief. Interestingly, their acquaintance stretched back much further to an early David Lynch-directed Calvin Klein commercial they both appeared in during the late 1980s. The 2001 rumors suggested a brief romantic connection between the two cool indie stars who had known each other for years. Heather Graham's dating history connected her to music royalty when she began dating Elijah Allman in 2002. Elijah is the son of Cher and Greg Allman. This relationship paired the famous actress with the offspring of rock legends, offering Heather a brief foray into a different side of the celebrity world. Heather Graham and Matthew Perry had a romantic relationship that lasted for several months and was well covered by the tabloids. As a star of the biggest sitcom in the world, Friends, Matthew Perry placed Heather at the center of mainstream Hollywood attention. They were a quintessential early 2000s coupling, frequently seen together during their time as an item. A brief, rumored connection linked Heather Graham and Colin Firth in 2003. This connection between the vivacious Hollywood actress Heather and the reserved, critically acclaimed British actor Colin was an intriguing, albeit unconfirmed, transatlantic pairing in the celebrity gossip columns. Heather Graham dated director Chris Weitz for roughly a year. Chris was known for his work directing and producing comedies and dramedies. Heather Graham and Josh Lucas had a significant relationship that spanned about 2 years. The actors were steady companions, often photographed together at red carpet events and around Los Angeles. Their connection was a serious, but ultimately impermanent, partnership in the mid-2000s Hollywood landscape. Heather Graham's romance with Charles Ferry, a writer and filmmaker, lasted for approximately 2 years. This relationship was less publicly scrutinized than some of her past pairings, suggesting Heather and Charles valued their privacy, sharing a stable and quieter chapter in her life. Heather Graham briefly dated Canadian actor Scott Speedman in 2007 after meeting at an industry event. Their relationship was low-key and lasted only a few months before they went their separate ways. They did not have a highly publicized relationship, maintaining privacy during their time together. The relationship between Heather Graham and Yaniv Raz, an Israeli-American film director, was one of Heather's longest, enduring for 3 years. Heather and Yaniv maintained a relatively low-profile relationship, reflecting a period of stability and a move away from the constant tabloid attention. The connection between Heather Graham and Ed Helms sparked during the success of their hit comedy, The Hangover, 2009. Heather played the memorable role of Jade, and Ed was Stu, her eventual love interest. Rumors of an off-screen spark surfaced during the film's promotional period, linking Heather and the popular comedian Ed Helms, but the connection was brief. Heather Graham and Jason Silva had a romantic relationship around 2011. They were known to enjoy spending time together in New York, often talking about their shared love of relaxing activities like lazy cuddling and eating Venezuelan food. Both expressed that their similar optimistic outlooks helped their relationship thrive. However, they later split, and there were no plans for children during their time together. Heather Graham and Taylor Harcott shared a quiet, steady relationship in the mid-2000s. Taylor, who works in the entertainment industry, and Heather maintained a low-key profile, avoiding the spotlight for most of their relationship. Heather Graham dated film producer Tommy Alastra from 2016 to 2017. They met in 2016 and were seen kissing in New York City and vacationing together in Italy. The couple attended various events together and shared affectionate moments publicly on social media. However, they split after about a year of dating, with reports indicating the breakup occurred around July 2017. Neither publicly confirmed the split at the time, but it was widely reported by media sources. Heather Graham has been in a relationship with John de Neufville since 2022. John de Neufville is a snowboarder and real estate investor, known for a low-key lifestyle compared to typical Hollywood personalities. They have been seen traveling together and spending time on various getaways. Graham appreciates dating someone outside the entertainment industry, which offers her a different perspective on life beyond the movie business. John de Neufville has a 10-year-old son from a previous marriage. Looking back over her history, Heather Graham's romantic journey has always been less about seeking a traditional happy ending and more about embracing passion, creativity, and genuine human connection. Though she has been linked to many high-profile figures, she consistently prioritizes her free-spirited lifestyle, focusing on travel, intellectual curiosity, and self-love. It seems this timeless star is the perfect example that being happily unattached is just as rewarding as any Hollywood romance.